Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Sipping Tea with Nat and Z. I'm Nat.
And I'm Z.
That was a pregnant pause for dramatic effect, y'all.
I forgot who I was there for a moment. I was like, what am I supposed to say? Lord.
Oh, that was
It's just,
funny.
I'm sorry.
That is too
It's the
funny.
morning. I think it is. I blame it on, so we're taping this daylight savings
Mm-hmm.
day. So I think that is what is throwing us
Off.
off
Yes.
or me off. So it's been a weird morning. Let's just say
Yeah.
that it's a lot going on. It's a lot
Eventful.
going on.
It's
Yeah,
been
it's very
eventful, though.
eventful. So we're talking about Mean Girl Syndrome. The title of this
Mm,
episode is "You Can't Sit with Us: The Mean Girl
mm,
Syndrome."
done.
So we got a lot to unpack this morning. So we're going to get right into it
Mm-hmm.
with some tea of the day. We're not tea experts. Talk to your doctor when drinking herbal tea because there could be some potential side effects that could happen when you mix it with the medication.
Yep, yep.
Don't substitute this for medication. We're not affiliated with any of these companies, and these ain't endorsements. So what we drinking on? And
So, So, as we said, this topic is mean girl syndrome. So, for some of us, that can evoke a lot of self reflection and make you kind of think, was I one? Do I know one? And we respond to experiences differently. And sometimes we need to drink to, alleviate some of those reflections, or let me alleviate some of the information that you've come upon self reflecting. And other times we need to feel safe and comforted. So, we have two options for you today. So, first we have black tea and rum. I'm here for the rum, regardless. So, whether you reach for a classic English breakfast tea or orange pico, it's a perfect accompaniment to rum. I think anything is a perfect accompaniment to rum, but that's neither here nor there. Bartenders dating back to days made cocktails like the Fish House Punch. I'm gonna have to check that one out. It's a full bottle of dark rum with just as much black tea, as well as some cognac and peach brandy. Well, we already know that that's a lovely combination. And Planter's Punch, which is basically a simple mix of black tea and dark rum, any you choose. And rum's natural sweetness pretty much rounds off the black tea's bitter edge. Those of you that enjoy black tea know there's that little bit of tinge at the end. While other spirits like whiskey can sometimes accentuate the astringency of the said um, tea. So, moving on to chamomile tea with gin or vodka. Take your pick, whatever you like. Gin is sin. Work it how you need to. Just FYI. Birds of I'm just saying. Birds of a feather flock together when it comes to floral flavors, which is great. It's lovely and calming chamomile tea, which is like the cure all for everything calming. Gets its charm from a herbaceousness and florality.
Herbaceousness. I like that.
Herbaceousness, right? Right? That's an
Okay.
SAT word. SAT, right? The fact we both say SAT word at the same time. Y'all look good. That's a good word for today. Use that. Use herbaceousness somewhere in your week today, and work in your week coming up. Try infusing chamomile directly with gin. That's an option. Making the two perfect boozy business partners. I like that. Try infusing chamomile with the gin, and pretty much makes it a gin cocktail, like a Tom Collins or even gin take on an old fashioned. Old fashions are great. If it's a hot cocktail, that's when we coming up on the hot toddies. Topping the gin off with a mild bit of chamomile tea and honey, which is nice. The mix overwhelmingly can be herbal, overwhelmingly herbal to some folks, and they do not like the taste of that because it's just too much. If that's the case and you're not feeling herby, try putting some vodka in it instead and see how that works out for you and enjoy. But, if you don't drink alcohol, which is fine, you just need to be at peace. Just, start doing a tea ritual for some mindfulness, whatever time you drink it, morning, noon, or night, or just make it a process and ritual whenever you drink it and
Right.
enjoy. So, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to jump right into our tea time. All right. So, back. with us? What's that about? We know it's a popular topic and pretty much on the tips of all our tongues from high school, elementary school, and all that stuff. So, but what does it mean? What does the label mean? It's an expression used to describe girls who exhibit antisocial behavior known as relational aggression. And relational aggression is a specific type of bullying designed to harm social relationships and status of an individual. Unfortunately, people basically, essentially, people who engage in relational aggression want to make you look bad or other individuals to other individuals or a group in the masses. Additionally, unfortunately, they may try to intimidate you by threatening to leave the relationship you have with them, and that prompts you to stay under that particular abusive relationship, which is essentially what this is. So, some of these tactics include gossiping, cyberbullying, intimidation, harassment, of course, ostracizing individuals and leaving them left out. And then, of course, the verbal insults and a lot of sometimes passive aggressive behavior where they just kind of set people up for embarrassment repeatedly,
You know, it's
unfortunately.
you just said something that it just a light bulb went off in my head. This is absolutely a toxic verbal. This is a abusive relationship.
Yeah.
Being if you're in a situation where you are on the receiving end of a mean girl's aggression,
Hmm.
this is a abusive relationship.
And you stay in it.
Yeah, some people stay in it, some people can't get out of it
Right.
depending on
The situation.
where
Yeah, that
you
is true.
are
Very
in
true.
relation to the mean girl.
Hmm.
Um, and when you think about it, you were talking about, mean girls are something that a lot of us have dealt with from elementary school on, or the concept
Right.
was there. It may not have had a label. We usually call them bullies, but
Bullies.
the mean girl tag has been more prevalent in today's
Hmm.
society than probably when we were growing up.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But the reason why people were mean girls is the same. That
Hmm.
hasn't changed.
Hmm.
We usually see mean girls target other women based on their own insecurities,
Mm.
their own jealousy, their own feelings of competition and envy. And then, unfortunately, the victim usually is somebody who's very independent, popular, successful,
Hmm.
um, or just in short, somebody who is a threat in some way to the aggressor. So you don't even have to be popular. Maybe you're the smartest kid in the class
Yeah.
and the mean
Hmm.
girl doesn't like that.
Right.
And understand that the mean girl doesn't always have to look like what we
Consider.
traditionally conceive of a mean girl, right?
Hmm.
Some mean girls are themselves popular and
Yep.
extremely attractive and come from, a good background, that what we see on paper as a good background.
And
You
they
know,
leverage that though to be a mean
they
girl.
absolutely do. Um we often don't see mean girls target people unless they know they can get away with it.
Mm. That's a good point.
They're not going to target someone who's strong-willed or has a strong foundation, a strong backbone. They may try it because they're going to try it, right? Mean girls are going to
Obviously.
try it, but they're not going to keep trying it if they see they can't get over on you, or
Right.
use that type of behavior towards you.
Hmm.
If they think that you're going to tell on them, blow the whistle, get keep them from furthering whatever it is that they're trying to do, then
Hmm.
they'll usually back off.
True. True. And this definitely resonates in multiple areas of our daily lives. In particular, one is the workplace. And sometimes we don't think about that, but you think about if there's mean girls in schools, which is where you
Mm,
usually see them, first pop up, those people go to school and have careers. And if they haven't been stopped, they're going to make sure that they impress upon that behavior upon the people that they're working with
ooh,
or
trigger alert,
for.
trigger alert.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Right?
I've had to deal with some mean girls in the workplace.
Yes. So I think we all have, unfortunately. Just
Mm,
and
mm,
some
mm.
situations are way worse than others. Understood the trigger alert. Z. So a lot of times these individuals they wrongfully accuse you of making errors to make you look bad. They take credit for for your work. We all have people who have done that in our workplace at some
Mm,
place and
mm,
time
mm.
that or they execute a complete impossible tasks as a punishment, kind of like Cinderella when she was trying to go out and her stepmom was like, I need you to do 50 11 things and then you can go to the ball. You wasn't going to finish that, but you set her up so that she could try to attempt to finish it only to crush her dreams and then she can't go. So setting people up to do all that stuff at work is the same concept. and then ensuring, and then you basically ensuring that they're going to fail because they can't perform those tasks, making you look bad as a worker. And then there's the rumor mill, and we all know how workplaces have rumors
Oh,
and how they
Jesus.
get started. Whether it's in the
I got to
coffee
hold
room,
myself. Hold on. I'm
yes,
holding
breathe,
myself.
rock with it, Z, breathe through it, girl, breathe through it. Girl, she rocking side to side. And then you try to start rumors, and that, or starting rumors is just as bad as letting rumors fly, and you don't even try to, stop or nip it in the bud. And then, of course, the ever present, oh, no, you should have been to that meeting. You conveniently get left out of important things, decisions that you really should be involved in, and now you're not even at the table to do what you need to do. So,
Ugh.
Z, you all right over there?
I
Breathing.
have dealt with a mean girl in my workplace, and it is not fun, especially because I think when you deal with mean women, and let's be take it a step further. Mean girls become mean women. You see them in elementary school and then high school, and they usually college. They continue that behavior, and they continue that behavior
Mm-hmm.
into adulthood, and then it carries on into the workplace. So these are mean women. I've dealt with a mean woman, a mean girl in the workplace. And unfortunately, I wasn't in a position to really advocate for myself in the way that I would need to. That's as much as I can say. And it's unfortunate because that situation left a very bad taste in my mouth. And it's like at work, unless you just got it like that, and I don't know
Mm.
how many people can, you're in an uncomfortable situation. You can't just be like, okay, I'm up, I quit.
Right.
Because how you gonna pay your bills? And I think
Hello.
that that's why mean girls in the workplace that gets so prevalent, and it has
Yeah.
such a detrimental effect on people because you're in a position where you can't just leave
Leave.
the relationship. Because
Mm-hmm.
if it's a supervisor, how are you supposed to
Yeah.
leave that?
It is that is such a good commentary on the abuse, on the abusive dynamics, because it really is that you can't financially, you are stuck in
You are stuck.
for a situation, so that make, yeah. Mm-mm. So true.
So you you said something good, that it's this is something that can happen in all aspects of your life. So we know that we can encounter mean girls in the workplace. A lot of us don't realize, or do realize, and choose to turn a blind eye to the fact that
Mm.
we can have mean girls in our tribe.
Mm-hmm.
um I do wholeheartedly believe that in my 20s there were definitely people within my circle that were mean girls. um and how can you identify if somebody is a mean girl within your friend group? They're nice to you in public but cold in private. Maybe they like to be in control of situations and insist on having their way. So maybe like everybody's like, "Oh, we're gonna go to this restaurant to have dinner," and they're like, "No, I changed that. We're going here to
Hmm.
have dinner here at this time because
Mm.
I like this menu better than that."
Mm.
And you may not think that that's a mean girl, but that is, because why are you getting to dictate where everybody else want to go when
That
we already
part.
made it to consensus?
Mm-hmm. And why
Um,
should we acquiesce to your desires?
right. They publicly criticize you or your opinions. And again, constructive criticism is always okay,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like if you have an opinion and you say, "Oh my gosh, I really think that this um meal is delicious." And you're like, really? This meal is so basic. Like, but of course you would like this. That
Oh
type of
yes, yes, very good role play there.
that's and unfortunately it's a good role play because at one point I was mean girl adjacent. I had a mean girl streak. I'm not proud of this. It's not, this is a way long time ago. It was for a very brief period of time, and I understand why in that moment I was like that. But hey, it's called transparency. I've grown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on my Jada Pinkett shit now, trying to
Usa.
find more
Usa.
spirituality and peace in my life.
Hello. That's so important.
um, People who mean women that are in your tribe, they can twist the facts. and situations to make themselves look innocent. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she told you I said that. I never said that. Wow.
Why would she
Like, that
say
just
I
kind
said
of
that?
shows you what type of person she is. If she
Mm.
can make up something like that about me, that type of
Mm.
behavior. They boycott your ideas or social gatherings. They may leave you out of the social gathering altogether.
Yes.
I remember an episode of The Golden Girls where Rose's sister came to visit. And Rose told Blanche and Dorothy, my sister is a terrible person. She's terrible. And they're like, really? She is. And their sister was doing a lot of passive aggressive things,
Mm-hmm.
leaving her, like, scheduling like them to go to the movies and not get, not inviting Rose, or saying, hey, we're gonna go to dinner here, and giving Rose the wrong directions to the restaurant. Like, she was just like a terrible person. She winds up
Oh,
sleeping with Blanche's boyfriend, and then that's when they believed
of course.
Rose, right?
Blanche don't play with her booze
She does it. And yes, I do remember this because I watch Golden Girls like 50,
all the
11
time,
times a
and it's
day.
always on. It's great TV watching
It
now.
is. It
Best,
is.
some of the best programming on TV.
Side note, Golden Girls was really ahead of its time.
Yes.
They talked, and I think we talked about this before. They talked about abortion. They talked about
Yes.
IVF. They talked about interracial
They
relationships.
talk about HIV.
They talked about, yes, they hit the button, and this
Yes.
is what,
Way
80s,
with the 80s,
90s,
80s, 90s.
80s, like 80s, like mid
Yes.
to, yes,
They
mid
really
to late
were.
80s. So they were ahead of their time.
Go
So
ahead, show writers. That's why they still on
yes,
now. So relevant,
yes.
regardless what time frame.
They so they'll tend to be quick to anger and might use direct insults or name calling.
Mm,
They befriend you to learn your insights or secrets and then use them against you, or they
facts.
fabricate lies and spread rumors about you while pretending to be your friend.
Mm,
And I know a lot of people. I've had this conversation with a few people, and I've had people tell me there was one person. So I have a friend who told me she, her, they, it was like a trifecta, right?
mm-hmm.
They had one friend in common. These two girls didn't know each other, but they had this one friend in common. And the friend would bring them together, but they would never talk to each other. And they always would kind of give each other like side eyes because the one friend they had in common would tell each other effed up stuff
About the other.
about the other. But the girls never said that. The only reason why this friend did that is because she was trying to keep them from being close. She knew that they
Mm,
would hit
click.
it off and be best friends, and she didn't want that.
Oh,
So to keep that from happening, she would play them against one another.
mm. That's some calculating, conniving
Calculating,
stuff. That manipulation on a whole other level.
calculating, like terrible,
Mm,
terrible shit. And the way that they found out that this didn't happen was they were at a party, and they both got invited to a party, and they both showed up.
mm-hmm.
And one of their friends was like, hey, such and such is over there. Oh, I don't fuck with that bitch. Why not? Cause da 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 da. So they go to their friend. Well, why did you say I never said that? Well, she's saying. So then they talked, and they were like, where'd you get
Uh,
this information from? And then when they started comparing notes, they realized they got it from that one friend.
mm, mm. Looky
Set her up,
there.
called her on a three-way.
Oh,
So, and she started saying all this stuff that the other girl didn't say, and then it just blew up.
yeah.
Now, this
Wow.
happened. Now, the story I'm telling you is something that happened to this person when they were in their early 30s. Not
Mm-hmm.
now, not they're 40 now. But I was talking to them about this syndrome, and
Mm-hmm.
this was the example that they gave me, and I'm like, yo, that is crazy. That is
Wow.
ridiculous. That some people will
But
go
you know,
to
it
that length.
happens more often than not. I had
It does.
a similar story told to me not too long ago about how someone was pitting other people against people sending emails to other folks and not copying other folks to think that the other person sent it. Like they put in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
effort. Like with this situation, why do you have that much time? Like I don't understand. How you got this much time with your life to do some shit
I don't
like
know.
that? That's
I don't
crazy.
know. That's
That's
too much.
ridiculous. So, this all brings you to think these situations that we're talking about bring you to pause. Like, are you the mean girl in the group? Maybe. Are you the one who's doing this shit to other people? Whether you realize it or not, which I find hard to believe because this is some calculating stuff. Are you the one with the resting bitch face? We all have that one friend. Or we know people like you at the club, and there's that one chick on the couch with her face set, like she don't. You at a club, right? And then you like, I'm ready to go. Like, are you that chick? Then why did you come out in the first place? And you stay with resting bitch face. And then you're judgmental about everybody else, but you feel like everyone is judgmental as just as judgmental, but you're the one who's really the head of that situation. And then this one here, this one here, folks. Are you the one who sets sights on other people's significant others, i.e., men? They don't belong to you at all. I mean, you don't really belong to anybody, but clearly they are with somebody else. But you're like, what's that got to do with anything? Anything but space and opportunity. Space and opportunity. If you're one of those people that engages in space and opportunity when there's a man involved that doesn't belong to you, you might be a mean girl.
You know what? This is definitely a girl code. There are
Yes.
things I think mean girls do not understand the
Mm,
definition of girl code
they don't
because
care.
they have no moral compass.
Yes.
So there is no and what I mean by girl code, there's a lot of different
Yeah.
things.
And
Oh Jesus,
nuances. We gotta
I'm
do one on girl code.
yes, I want to say so much.
But
I
you
want to say
can't.
so
You
much, but I
can't.
can't. But I can't. Um, I would say, there are people who have exemplified a lot of these things
Yeah.
in my life and our lives.
Yeah.
We can pinpoint people who this is. I think the girl code is definitely the biggest. They're
Yeah.
just unwritten rules that you should abide by if you're friends. I don't care. As soon as you tell me you like somebody, that person's off limits to me.
Right.
And I know for some people that's like, why? You just like them. That's just off limits to me because that's problematic
It is.
in and
Oh,
of itself.
it was. Oh my goodness! I got this quick story. So when about the off limits thing. So when I was in grad school, and I went to grad school in Pittsburgh, and there's certain circles that you run in that Pittsburgh is only but so big.
Mm-hmm.
So there was
Yeah.
a time when I started dating um, folks, but then I was meeting other people as well because I didn't really know anybody by the time I went back to grad school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few people that I had met, and then the circles that I would be in, I would find out that we were dating the same person. But I wasn't like cool with that person because I had just met them.
Mm-hmm.
But then it got to the point like, okay, so how many dates you been on with this person? Are they off limits? Have you slept with them? Have you not slept with them? And the fact that it even became a conversation, the girl code conversation came up about who's off limits. Because if you went on a date with someone first time and nothing worked out, are they really off limits? And I only say that situationally because of where we were. Was that the right thing to do? I don't know.
But
But
see,
you
I
know
think
what
in that situation, that's fine. I'm talking about you and me.
yeah.
No,
Yeah, that's a no no.
like
That's a big no.
that's just if you were dating somebody, regardless if it worked out or not, and then
Agreed.
I was like, I'm gonna start dating them. I'm gonna say it's only okay if you talk to the person. Look,
Yeah.
such and such reached out. We kind of had a vibe. I
Were
would
you
like to
on
see where
this?
this go. Where are you at with this?
Right.
And that's respect.
Right.
But you just be like, oh, I'm gonna just do it because I want to,
Mm,
and
that's
y'all
mean
ain't
girl.
together. That's mean
Mean
girl.
girl behavior. For real.
In my opinion,
Yeah.
that's mean girl behavior.
Yes. And then if that does happen and you say to that mean girl, if she asks, I don't want you talking to them, they may shut you down and give you the silent treatment because you didn't give them what they wanted. And you're sitting here like, what just happened? Why you stop talking to me? Oh,
Lord Jesus, I'm so triggered. So
this is a trigger episode for Reek.
motherfucking right, I'm triggered. What's that song? By what's her
Trigger,
name?
trigger, trigger.
Janae
Yes,
I am so triggered right now.
man. And if this is happening, as you can see, it has residual effects, and there's a definite ripple effect this can have on lives for
Oh,
years, decades to come. So if this is the case, then you really need to sit down and need to evaluate. Let me back up. So if you're also the mean girl and you don't want certain people causing you a threat, then you sit and decide, do I really want them in this group or no? And that's where like the cliques come in, and
oh
you're in
my
the
Jesus.
popular girl group, and all this other stuff. I had one of those experiences in high school, and I got invited, I guess invited or whatever, to be in the popular girl group that ran the school. I was a cheerleader, all that stuff. And then I saw the behavior. I was like, oh, we don't sit with them because why? This because they don't have because they're not wearing Benetton. Oh, okay, okay, right. Just, I can't sit with them because they don't have the multiples of from Benetton. They don't have the right organization of like I just and that was the first time I had ever seen anything like that. And you really sit down and think about, well, Natalie, we like you in the group, but we're not going to let anybody else in after you.
So, all right. So I'm gonna say this: we understand this concept because we have dealt with mean girls in our lives and
Mm-hmm.
mean girls in close proximity to us. And
Yeah.
when I tell you all of these things are true, like I almost want to take this podcast and send it to people who've been mean girls in our lives and like listen, especially listen to this part because I have been on the opposite end of the silent treatment
Mm.
where somebody got mad at me because I didn't want to conform to something that they wanted me to
Mm.
conform to. So they iced me out. They stopped talking to me.
Mm.
And the crazy part is sometimes the silent treatment happens and you don't even know.
Right. You ain't know that you had beef with that person.
Yeah, you're like, oh, they not talking to me?
Since
Like,
when?
what I do? And then you,
Houseway.
right. Or you find out that there are activities going on
Mm.
that you aren't invited
Privy
to because
to.
that person has decided I don't want them here.
Yes.
And again, I learned what it's about. I don't like using the term jealousy or envy. I really don't. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes with mean
It's
girls, that
rooted.
is the root of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
They feel threatened by you. And again, these people probably are just as successful, are just as beautiful, just as,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something in them that they're unhappy with and they project it.
Yes. And
So I have dealt with this specifically where I would tell somebody I like somebody, they would turn around and then they just start dating that
mm,
person. Or
that's some grimy shit.
right, or they would just like do things because I didn't want to do something that they wanted to do. Then they just kind of became an ice queen. Like, what
Mm.
the frick is this? And then when I finally got to the point where I was, because again, as women, we go through a whole bunch of changes.
Yeah.
And when I got to a point where I was just like, I want more in my life out of my friendships than this,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to have that conversation with that person, they looked at me like I was crazy, like I was the problem.
That and we call that what?
Lack of self awareness.
And gaslighting. Because
Ah,
when
very much so
they
gaslighting.
alter your reality, they try to alter your reality. You know what you
Yes.
know. You know what you know. You know what
Yes.
you know, but they will sit and try to make you question your own reality. I think this is
Woo.
one of I've been gaslit, and it is one of the
We're
most
doing a whole topic on gaslighting
woo,
because
yes.
this is woof.
It is one of the worst things for you as a person when you know you're sane. You know what you know. You may have receipts. You may have receipts, but they're looking at you like, I don't know. So gaslighting is one of the most toxic forms of bullying. I think one
Mm-hmm.
of the most because it really makes you question who
Your
you are and your
sanity.
sanity, as defined by psychology today. It's a tactic in which a person or entity, in order to gain more power, makes a victim question their reality. They making you think you're crazy. That is some sadistic BS.
It is. And that happens. Gaslighting is something that happens across the board. It happens
Yes.
in your friendships. It can
Mm.
happen at work. It can happen in your relationships. It can happen in
Amen.
your family.
Yes. It is
Okay?
a whole. I don't know. Y'all know Dr. Ramani. She does a great series on gaslighting.
Gaslighting is, woo,
Mm.
that is something I, I just, well,
Whew.
I'm just going to say, y'all,
Girl.
everybody has been,
Mm.
I believe, a victim of
Yes.
gaslighting at some point in their life. Everybody has. So nobody's immune to
No.
gaslighting.
But it's great
You,
when you figure it out.
yes, because when you point it out, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, hell no. I
Yeah.
know what I know.
Thank you.
You ain't gonna sit up here and tell me. Now, I will say there are times when I am misinformed. My mind plays tricks on,
My mind is playing tricks. On.
and I think I know something, and it ain't true.
And,
I can
right.
give you a quick point. This morning, my husband took my daughter to swimming, And I was like, oh yeah, it's 9:30. He was like, no, it's 10. And I was like, no, it's 9:30. He was like, Zarifa, it's 10 o'clock. You sat there and told me to make the schedule for 9:30. He's like, okay, Zarifa, it's 9:30. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna double check. I went to check. It was 10 o'clock. I was like, I'm sorry. It was 10 o'clock. He just looked at me and rolled his eyes like, I told you, like what the hell? So sometimes your mind will play tricks on you.
Right.
But and that is just an example, but gaslighting
Mm.
is way, 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 way worse
Way
in
worse.
a lot of situations. And mean girls definitely use that as a tactic because
Yes.
they don't like being called out on their shit. So
Mm.
they're going to turn it around on you and
Always.
make you think that what you think is crazy, and it's not. So we're talking about mean girl and mean women because again, mean girls become mean women.
Mm-hmm.
And the one question you probably are thinking, well, if there is a mean girl in my life, can that mean girl be reformed? Or Zarifa and Natalie, the mean girls that were in your life, have they been reformed? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know because the mean girl that was in my life is no longer in my life.
And there
But
you go. That's a way to get rid of them.
yeah,
Excommunicado.
yes, it ain't nothing to cut that bitch.
Woo! Facts. That song just sometimes,
It is perfect for a lot of situations. So, mean girls can become mean women,
Mm-hmm.
and mean women can continue to bully for the same types of reasons that they bullied as teens. To relay the pain of having been bullied themselves and therefore
Mm.
regain some control, to maybe diminish a perceived threat again. And that threat is so dumb. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I think she's prettier than me, or I think she's more successful than me, or I think she's smarter. But that's you telling you that. Like, what?
Right. You're
Um,
talking to yourself.
right. Or merely to wield their social or sexual power.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, there are some women who can grow out of being mean. There are. There are. But it's only through self-awareness and self-reflection. And we talked about this. And you have to go through a process of understanding how your behavior
Mm-hmm.
impacts your social interactions, friendships, and even intimate relationships.
So true.
A lot of people aren't willing to do that. A lot of people aren't willing to dig deep.
At all.
Period. Whether it's a mean girl, whether it's someone who's a gaslighter, whether it's someone who is a habitual liar, whatever it is, somebody who's a bad friend, a lot of people don't want to dig deep.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't have self awareness. But then a lot of times people don't even realize how they're showing up in their lives.
That is
There are
true.
people who feel that I'm not a mean girl. What are you talking about?
And they
And
really
then,
don't think so.
and they don't think so. And they're not going to be able to do this work.
Right. Because there's no self awareness
Right.
at all.
And those who don't become reformed, who can't do the work, who can't grow out of it, 9 times out of 10, they're doing it for two reasons: the fear of losing control, because
Mm-hmm.
control is a big issue,
Yeah.
or not having the emotional maturity and support to self reflect.
Right.
Think about that:
It's huge.
control, support, and maturity. Those are that's the pillar right
Mm-hmm.
there. If you don't have those things, you're not going to be able to make it through anything.
That part. Or you just coast on what you can or move on to people once you've used them up.
Huh. Hello. Good
And keep
morning.
it right. And just be like, there you go. There you go. Right. So where does this come from? How do we see how does this show up in our lives? Our culture nowadays, I would say more than ever, with social media being the way that it is, our culture is fascinated with the image of mean girls, from reality TV to movies, and social media, as I said. And looking at reality TV, which is
Mm.
apparently taking the place of regular, I don't know, thought
Everyday
provoking,
life.
right, everyday life, thought provoking TV. Real housewives of whatever they are. I don't know where they live now because there's too many. I watched it in the beginning, like the real OC, the original housewives where they were actually housewives, and
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't have to work, and they
Mm-hmm.
were wealthy, not
Mm-hmm.
the other ones that I don't know where they are now. Anyway, and basketball wives, which it just seems a display of mean girl behavior.
That's all it
That's
is.
all it is. And it's celebrated.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the movies, Mean Girls, of course, and Grease, Rizzo from the Pink Ladies, Heathers, all the Heathers, and then Winona Ryder just trying to kill them all off with with Christian Slater. If y'all haven't seen that movie, yo, I don't suggest you take out any of those aggressions, but I would suggest go watch that movie. It is a perfect example of Mean Girls before the Mean Girls movie came out, right? And then Bring It On. We all know how that was going, and the
Mm-hmm.
cheerleader factor, and the social hierarchy in high
Mm-hmm.
school, and you know,
Race.
yes, very much so. And then think about it: in all of these situations, Mean Girls are always rewarded for the behavior. All of these things I've said have either spurred on shows, and they get get memes, they get checks, they get endorsements, they become influencers, and they have
Taglines.
taglines. They're integrated into our everyday life, so it's subliminal that it's better to be a mean girl and move forward. And I think sometimes the mean girl is to take a different angle on being a bitch, but a bitch in an accepted way, because
Mm-hmm.
you can wield your power to get what you want, and
Mm-hmm.
folks kind of just fall in line with you. And then with the social media component, people can just, trolls, hide behind the screens, say whatever they want, and it becomes integral in our lives. And I don't know if people realize how much it has become a part of what we do in our everyday life with all these types of reality shows. Because the chick jumping across the table to snatch another chick's wig off is going to get more money than someone just trying to sit down and talk it out.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at, reality TV is the perfect example. If you look at, like you said, Real Housewives, or Basketball Wives, there's always one
Always.
queen bee,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody else is seen as a minion. And
Yep.
the one that doesn't want to conform, that's the one that they're always going to have the most problems with.
Yep. Always.
Think about it. Nene has the most taglines, the most memes.
Mm.
But if you ever looked at that show, Nene was a mean girl.
Mm-hmm.
Nene was a mean girl.
The
And I
eye
kiki with the
rolling.
rest of them when she would say, I said what I said.
Because those of us detached from that reality get it. Like, we can separate ourselves and still laugh at it. But then
Right.
there's some people that I know for a fact subscribe to that and use it as a playbook.
Like, oh, Nene is, I'm trying to be like Nene. That is not
Mm-hmm.
who you want to aspire to be.
No, no, and get excited when they see them out in public like they were
Right.
celebrities. But whatever, they ain't done
And,
nothing but cause rife,
hello. And
strife.
if you look at it as perfect example,
Mm-hmm.
because if Nene didn't like you, or if something happened, she cut you off, and now you're not in her friend circle.
Yep. Now you don't have
Like, her and
access.
Candy were never friends. Why? Because Nene's a mean girl, and Candy wasn't trying to,
Hear
like.
all that.
But on the flip side, Candy has a mean girl in her life. If you look at her mama is classic mean girl.
Yes.
Her mama ain't never changed. Her mama been a mean girl probably since she came out the womb.
Mm.
She probably was giving her doctor resting bitch face.
The
Like, that's
entire
how
time.
how her mama is,
Mm.
and we just subscribe to it. We're like, we eat it up.
Yep.
That's why there's so many Real Housewives.
Like,
That's why there are
so
so many
many.
basketball wives, because we eat it up.
There's gonna be a Real Housewives on Mars and Alaska soon. I swear for goodness. Because the
Like,
last one was like Idaho or something, or Utah,
no, it's Utah, but
Salt Lake City,
the next one is Dubai, and
Dubai.
I'm gonna
Oh,
say
that one's gonna
this.
be good though, because them people,
I
yeah,
might watch that,
yeah. I think
because
that's gonna be entertaining.
these American hoes ain't got nothing on them
That
Dubai
flex,
bitches.
that flex.
That flex gonna be totally different.
Woo! That's on a
That
whole
booty
other
is
level.
long, and they
No.
probably really are housewives because of
Yes.
the culture, and they not out here trying to.
Yes. Yes. My sister said when she was over there, she's like, "Yo, it is on another level. Now
Right.
it's on
So
a whole
y'all
other
not
level."
y'all not gonna be able to touch Dubai.
Mm-mm.
But excuse me, the recap of what we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think all of us can say we've been mean girls at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in one situation, one outcome, we have been a mean girl. There's a mean girl spectrum. So I
Mm.
think I have been on a spectrum. I haven't been at the worst of it, but I know I've done some mean girl stuff. And I've tried to apologize to the individuals. I don't want to make it sound like I just been out there wilding out.
Just
But
wantonly.
there was a person in particular that I was mean to, and we have come to a better understanding
Mm-hmm.
of where all that came from, and we're actually, I would say good good friends now.
Right.
Um or we've all been mean girl adjacent. And what I mean by mean girl adjacent is you've been in situations where a friend of yours was being a mean girl and you did nothing to stop it.
Right.
You've just allowed that behavior to continue. You've maybe giggled or kikied, or yeah, it kept that person's fire going
Going.
by hyping them up.
Mm-hmm.
So just think about that, because if you have young girls, young daughters,
They're
young
watching.
nieces, they're watching, and you want to know if, you want to be able to identify maybe these behaviors. Sorry, there's something that's going on inside that is just like, it has us all off it. But anyway, um, we hope that you take some of this information and use it to identify maybe the mean girls in your life and get them out, or have these conversations with the young women in your life to say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm starting to notice you acting like this and that ain't good. So let's nip
Yes.
that in the bud now,
Right.
because we're not doing this
And
and you're
have
not
that.
doing that.
Right. And that stature and that posture that Z just talked about, that's okay. Because if you a friend, you should be able to do that. It doesn't happen all the time, and you have to work up to it. But at least try to have those conversations. Be like, look, we ain't doing this. That's not cool.
Hello, good
We
morning.
just keep it moving. We grown. Let's keep it. That's not how this needs to work. Some people may take it. Some people are not. But at least you made an effort. So how do you handle this? So we came up with some strategies we can use to stop mean girls from having as much a negative impact on your life, Or, and as soon as you suspect someone doesn't have your best interest at heart, and if you can really just cut them off, just like that song we was singing earlier. Just so you ain't nothing, right? But
You got to
so
cut it.
cut it, cut it. And sometimes when you try to cut it, you can do it. It can manifest in different ways, like taking the high road. Don't
I don't know what that
engage.
is.
What?
A bitch gonna
Try.
take the low road every chance you get. No, I'm just joking.
Sometimes you got to. Sometimes the situation calls for that, and you need to boss up, as people say, in that situation. Um, if for some reason there's a shred of truth to what that person is saying about you, really try to take the constructive feedback. Don't try to just jump on and be as defensive. Don't let that mean spirited thing nature of they're saying cloud the message of what they're trying to convey to you. But then again, you could ignore the comments of the person, and you can think it like it'll die down, and you just want to look past it and keep it moving because you ain't got time, because you just not here for it. And if people are jealous of you, sometimes you just gotta just put them in another box, if you will. Say, this is not for me. Then there's the other option of killing them with kindness. Just be kind to everybody. Be nice, but not fake. You can still be nice and genuine about it with just pouring it on too thick.
I saw
You
this
know.
meme that says, I'm gonna buy a sword and name it kindness so I can kill people with kindness. That is such a bad dad joke, but that shit had me rolling.
But I think it's appropriate. I think everybody should get a T-shirt that says that. Oh my goodness! You try to not give people a reason to pick with you. Just be nice and like mind your business and mind the business that pays you and keep it moving. But still be nice, and maybe that'll rub off on somebody. And they may realize that they're being, or it may give them some reflection of how unkind their behavior has been to others. This this goes back to what Z said, talk about the low road. Try not to engage in the counterattack. try, try, do not. You don't give them any reaction. It usually makes them go away. Not, I can't say usually because nowadays there's bullies today are of a different breed.
Mm-hmm.
So just try to do something else productive with yourself and extricate yourself from the situation if at all possible. If you can't, then you may have to sit and think about who your circle is and how do you engage with certain people, and then you take the locus of control and you choose to engage with who you choose to engage with, be it with your friends. And if you know someone is going to be there, maybe just back off and
Right.
not be involved. But inform your friends as that you're not avoiding them, but if you're going to continue to associate with that person, I just have to fall back.
I gotta
You know,
disengage.
got to disengage. Um, you know, when it comes to work, maybe try to problem solve. If it's in a professional way, you definitely don't want to stoop to their level because that can completely have a horrible impact on your professional life setting, engagement with your boss, your other coworkers, your productivity, your money, and just life in general. So just be mindful of that. Find your tribe, And we talked about all this because your tribe should all be like-minded, and there should not be a mean girl within the midst, but sometimes there is. And if you have to disengage and find your own tribe, like I said either earlier, then try to do that. And this goes in hand with the killing them with kindness, support and lift up the others around you. And it's important that in your career that you help other professionals in your circle be uplifted and try to, and I wouldn't say shield them from mean girl stuff, but help to contribute to the environment where mean girl behavior is not supported, by supporting other people and uplifting them in the workplace, which can hopefully eliminate future mean girl behavior in your midst. But then if your mean girl is a boss,
It
you might
might
have
be a yeah, that might be a
yeah,
problem.
that might be a problem. You might have to switch. And I would hate to say just leave your job, but sometimes you may have to. And that goes back to mental health too, because how productive are you going to be if you're in
Mm,
a situation dealing with
facts.
all that, you know?
Facts.
And then speaking to the mental health component, try not to take it personally, because if you do, it's definitely going to have a negative impact. And it has, and reminding yourself that that behavior, that horrible and bad behavior, is nothing to do with you, which is sometimes easier said than done.
It is easier than said than done.
Always easier said than done. You just happen to be a target for that day. Because, like, in the movie Mean Girls, everybody, even the teachers, were subjected to whatever the chick's name was, Rachel McAdams' chick character. I can't remember her name right now. But everybody knew that she had something personally on them, and they took everything personally and just kind of kept letting her do what she did, because they felt they were going to be attacked personally and have a negative impact on their entire life. And try to neutralize naysayers. We Z mentioned that some of this behavior stems from insecurity and jealousy, and try to diffuse it by giving the mean girl a public pat on the back. And like, it's not necessarily kissing ass, but you just try to keep the equilibrium where and you're not trying to have that person come after you or your neck. And you know for example, if she's an author in this case, share her content on social media, give her, accolades, but not like a minion.
I'm gonna say this. That's
Yeah.
one thing I ain't gonna do. If a bitch don't like me, I ain't supporting shit. I ain't posting your
No.
shit. I ain't doing it. Okay.
And I
Fuck.
just,
I
yeah.
don't give a fuck a
Uh,
naysayer. I ain't doing it.
and when you're taking those things in consideration, you have to understand that she may unfortunately use this against you at a later date.
Exactly. And again, don't y'all listen to me. I'm just talking. God ain't through with me yet. I'm still working on me. Okay.
These are all suggestions, y'all. Everybody takes them up when they need to and when they
Right.
can.
Don't
Okay.
listen to me. I'm just telling you what a bitch like me gonna do and what I ain't gonna do.
Is that ain't happening. And I can't fault you for that either, because to me it feels like you're fueling that position of, yeah, I just can't. And stand up for others. Use your experience to help. And this goes back to the whole bullying concept. There's a lot of social media out now, commercials about standing up to bullies and
Mm-hmm.
breaking the cycle and showing that it's not cool to be a bully. You know, no one, if something happens, no one thinks you're funny. Stop messing with her. And there's ways you can do that to disarm people and just let that person. If that person realizes that other person that's being bullied has an advocate, at times they back off.
Right.
They might
This
not
is definitely
always.
if you're a mean girl adjacent.
Yes,
Excuse me.
yes, yes. That is a good point.
If you're not
Definitely.
the mean girl, but you are in close proximity to the mean girl.
Correct. Because you may see things going on, but try to step up and say something.
Right.
If you can. But with that being said, try not to, with all of this, that you're trying to step up for people and show them that this is inappropriate. Try not to fall. Don't fall into the mean girl trap of, while you're going through all this behavior of trying to combat it. Kind of like, and I'm gonna go back to the Mean Girl movie again. Lindsay Lohan's character started out being the nice person and standing up for people, and then she got involved with the Mean Girls, and then she evolved into one, and she morphed into one because of all the little perks, and started, acting catty and being gossipy towards others. And I think we all are guilty of it, from time to time, if we've all had it happen in our lives. So just be mindful of, that you're not going out of your way to make someone else feel badly about a position that you may have. And then all of a sudden you end up morphing into the person that you are trying to combat. Because that unfortunately happens a lot,
Mm-hmm.
because the power, absolute, with it, absolute power corrupts. Is that right? I don't know. I don't remember the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. But you get that you feel powerful because you're like, I'm here to stand up for people and help people out. And then it just morphs into its own thing because you like the little power trip you may be on, but we each of us has a choice of whether we want to be nice or not, but make the right choice starting today to be nice. It
Yes.
doesn't cost anything. It does
No,
not
it
cost
doesn't.
anything
It absolutely does not.
at all,
No.
you know.
Um, well, this was a lot of good information. We're going to take a quick break and come back with our last for the day. So, this is the last sip of tea with your hood Dalai Lama. This is how we heal the mean girl culture. We include, we love, we empower. We regard our girls, and we model this in how we treat other women. And this is attributed to Lisa McCrone. Um, I don't have a lot to say other than I know that this almost seems like, well, why are we talking about mean girls? We're like in our 40s or we're in our 30s. That doesn't exclude you from being a mean girl, and it definitely doesn't exclude you from actually having a mean girl engage with you. I just say be mindful of the interactions that we're having with the individuals in our lives. Be mindful of how you're projecting how you're showing up in your life, especially if you have young women who look up to you. And this is in the workplace. This is in your life. Yes, you can be a boss bitch. Yes, you can be a bad bitch, but you can do it without being mean and tearing down others. Let's uplift one another. Cause who child, this world be trying to tear us down every day.
Ooh, every day.
Every day. And that is the last sip of tea with your hood Aliana.
Thank you, thank you. And thank you all for joining us this week on Sippin' Tea with Nat and Z. As you know, you can follow us on IG at sippintea_Nat and Z_pod. And of course on Facebook, Sippin' Tea, Nat and Z, to get information on our upcoming podcast topics, guests, and news. Thanks for listening. Catch us next week where we get into Black women and luxury.
Ooh,
Yes! Have a good week, y'all.